Korean wave will not be stopped. COVID-19 may have put a stop to packed concerts and fan meetings, but entertainment companies here in South Korea are going with the flow. And they're riding this digital wave so that fans can still get their fix online. And it's giving them new ideas to build bonds between celebrities and fans.
시원아 어디 갔어?
시원.
시원. 뭐야? 와! 야! 야!
Are you guys ready for this new adventure?
야, 영어를 왜 해?
야.
It's definitely a new adventure for these K-pop idols as COVID-19 continues to upend the world of entertainment. In May, one of South Korea's largest K-pop agency, SM Entertainment, teamed up with telecom giant SK Telecom to deliver fans larger-than-life concert experiences in the comfort of their homes. These concerts are elaborate, high-tech affairs making use of augmented reality or AR effects
나구나.
and allowing real-time communications between performers and fans.
부탁드릴게요.
Experts say SM has been working on these high-tech tricks for a while now. The pandemic gave it the opportunity to show them off.
그러니까 온라인 어떤 유통과 소비 측면에서 보면은 비대면의 코로나19 상황 속에서는 K-팝이 굉장히 유리해요. 그러니까 다른 데보다도 훨씬 더 그런 콘텐츠를 만드는 역량이라든지 또 팬들을 관리하는 방식들도 많이 축적이 되어 왔죠.
SM, whose stable of idol groups include Super Junior, TVXQ, and NCT, became the first Korean entertainment company to charge fans for online concerts. This started with a series of live-streamed concerts known as Beyond Live, with fans paying between $30 to $60 to tune in. The series has been a huge hit, raking in about $13 million in ticket sales from over 400,000 viewers around the world as of last month. Other entertainment agencies have followed suit. One of them is CJ, the company behind the famous acts, the K-Con and Mama concerts.
Give me a high five so that I can go around and give you guys an air five.
Besides tapping on AR, it is also providing opportunities for fans and artists to interact during these concerts.
And we have also enhanced the real-time interactivities between fans and artists. So for example, fans could connect from their home through the computer, and that will show on the back screen on the stage, and fans and artists could interact together by talking, singing, dancing.
It's been a tough year for the industry, with concerts and album launches being cancelled and delayed. But it's also been an important one, forcing entertainment companies to innovate.
What makes K-pop really unique is the communications and interactions between fans and artists. And there are no more offline concerts, and it's really the opportunity to come up with new ideas and creative ideas to connect the fans and artists through the virtual world.
And it's a time for growth, not just for K-pop. Experts say Korean dramas are also finding new fans as people go online platforms such as Netflix for entertainment amid the pandemic. A survey in Indonesia earlier this year found that about 73% of the people polled started watching K-dramas after the pandemic hit the country in March. Indian streaming services too have reported a surge in demand for these shows.
오히려 지금 코로나19 때문에 비대면 콘텐츠 소비가 많아지니까 오히려 한국 드라마는 더 알릴 가능성이 높고 심지어 스타들도 굉장히 지금 기회라고 보는 거죠. 왜냐하면 이게 즉각적으로 인터넷으로 이제 하게 되고.
The Korean entertainment industry is hoping to ride this digital wave to new heights, cashing in on changes in the way people are consuming entertainment in the age of the COVID-19. It can look to BTS, one of the first K-pop groups to embrace social media back in 2013 at a time when these platforms were gaining prominence. That helped catapult these rookie idols to international stardom as the group built bonds with fans online. Now, BTS is one of the world's most popular boy bands. Its latest single, Dynamite, debuted at #1 in the Billboard Hot 100, the first time a South Korean singer or group has achieved the feat. The South Korean government estimates that this chart-topping single could generate more than $1.4 billion for the country's economy, which has been badly hit by COVID-19. And it could create thousands of new jobs as well. Those in the K-entertainment industry are upbeat about the future. They say the pandemic has opened up an exciting new world with more adventures on the way.
Lights, camera, action? Not quite. Cinemas are empty here all across India as COVID-19 brought Bollywood to a halt. Now the Indian film industry is taking baby steps to get up and running again. But COVID-19 restrictions could spell the end of Bollywood blockbusters as we know them.
मेरा नाम किसी बासु है.
Actress Sanjana Sanghi's first big Bollywood role has been bittersweet. The romantic film Dil Bechara, about two terminally ill friends, racked up 95 million views in just 24 hours. But the release of Miss Sanjana's film in July came on the heels of tragedy. Her co-star Sushant Singh Rajput suspected suicide the previous month. And it came in the thick of the COVID-19 pandemic. With cinemas shut indefinitely, the movie bypassed the silver screen, launching on a streaming platform instead. And gone were the red carpet premieres and fanfare that usually accompany such high-profile films. Overall, it's been a tough year for the industry, and it's not getting any easier as Bollywood tries to make a cautious comeback.
The norms of the pandemic, which is social distancing or constant sanitization, just don't work for a regular filming process, and especially Indian sets. We're very, very large crews. I mean, typically a film like Dil Bechara, which is considered to be a heavy budgeted film, we have a 300 people crew at all times. So the nature of our industry, I think fundamentally is having to adapt, and the conversations are very different now, I have to say. Also, a lot of the scripts that I was going to be working on pre-pandemic, we don't know if we'll be able to make those films because we were traveling all over the world.
Bollywood producers put projects on hold in March, and cinemas shut their doors amid a nationwide lockdown. And as COVID-19 cases continue to surge in India, the industry has been struggling to get up and running again. Industry insiders estimate the losses run into hundreds of millions of dollars. This comes after the Indian film market grew 10% last year to reach $2.6 billion, helped by growth in box office collections and revenues from digital rights. Bollywood stylist Ruchi Kapoor is one of the many who thrived off the industry. She's worked on sets of blockbusters boasting big-name stars, including the Salman Khan action film Race 3. But, like many crew members, she's a freelancer, and with most movie shoots on hold, she had to go months without any income. She's just started picking up some work for commercials, but she's missing Bollywood.
It's been pretty stressful because I myself suffered major losses during the 3 months of the lockdown, because no one was shooting, no one was ready to work. I mean, obviously the government permissions weren't there and stuff like that. Bollywood hasn't really picked up at all, not yet. I style celebrities for their events and, when they go on red carpet and stuff like that. So that's also not happening right now, which is also very important.
In June, the Maharashtra state government granted permission to shoot with a limited cast and crew, looking to provide the industry some relief.
There's a long list of guidelines though. No embracing or fight scenes, no actors over the age of 65 on set, and a doctor, nurse and ambulance have to be present. The central government in August followed suit, permitting movie shoots across India with regulations.
Bollywood fans worry that films just won't look the same with so many restrictions.
A hero fighting a real scene out there and doing those stunts, that excites us more, okay, rather than using VFX and, you know, showing those fake effects. So we don't really enjoy those kind of things because that we can do it any which ways.
Despite the precautions, some actors say they aren't comfortable returning to set yet.
To be frank, if you told me that, hey, we need to get down to set tomorrow and start shooting the next film, I don't think I'm okay with that right now, personally as well. I just don't think that we're there yet. I have shot a couple of commercials, etc. So I've got a taste of what a post-pandemic shoot is like when the entire crew is in PPE kits. And what's happened is that what we could shoot in 8 hours before, it's now taking us 16 to 17 hours.
And given the restrictions of filming in India, actors say there have been discussions about shooting abroad in locations such as the UK and New Zealand.
So people are going to places which are safer, and the countries and cities which are allowing more than 50, 60 people. Because for a film crew, it is, I mean, you have 100 of dancers in a shot. So you cannot shoot a film with 50 people.
Actor Akshay Kumar's latest movie, spy thriller Bell Bottom, is currently being filmed in Scotland. But shooting abroad increases filming costs substantially, and it represents a significant loss for the Indian film industry, which would normally produce up to 2,000 movies a year, with each film providing jobs for hundreds of people.
India has around 10,000 cinema screens, but trade experts estimate that about 10% of these have already shut down permanently, and this number could rise to 20% the longer cinemas have to remain closed.
The owner of this Mumbai cinema says the impact has been devastating.
Before pandemic, it was running very successfully, and on weekends and other festival days, it was houseful. Now what you see is empty chairs, empty screens, empty lobby, empty cafeteria, empty box office. This keeps my heart sunk when I visit for a local, just for see how things happening, and it's a difficult time for everybody.
And once it does reopen, he knows it will take work and investment to make moviegoers feel safe.
So we will not compromise on any of these things. We will have a sanitizer or maybe scanners, and making them cover the face mask. So whatever the cost must be, but we still want to run the business.
The bright spot for the industry is the ability to stream releases on platforms including Netflix and Amazon Prime, which consumers are watching avidly amid the pandemic. Many people in India are still reluctant to venture out much because of COVID-19 and are heading online for their entertainment fix instead.
These films that probably weren't shown earlier or were not released earlier, they are getting the opportunity to be seen in digital platforms, especially like Netflix, Hotstar, Amazon, which are acquiring typically the bigger films, as you may say, as originals for their respective platforms, which is good in a way because you're still content consumption is still going on.
But for some fans, streaming can't beat the silver screen experience.
I'm a movie buff. I'm a total movie buff. It's like when the theaters were on, I used to watch 2 movies a weekly. So yeah, and my whole family is like that. So right now, not going for movies, and there's no so many things around. See, watching movies on mobile and laptop and iPads are pretty boring. When the people are spending millions and dollars to make the films, it actually miss out on the pleasure of watching on the big screen.
It may not be quite the same as the big screen, but with COVID-19 cases continuing to surge in India, Bollywood fans will have to settle for watching movies from the safety of their homes for a while longer.
Silence here on Broadway, and who knows for how long more. The iconic theatre district is already in the midst of its longest shutdown yet, and the earliest it could reopen is January next year. With Broadway now a ghost town, those working in the industry are finding creative ways to showcase their talent during this pandemic.
Drama and heartbreak are a common sight on Broadway, but few could have scripted the arrival of a faceless enemy that's brought an industry to its knees. David Lai has worked on Broadway since 1989 and is a conductor for Phantom of the Opera. This is the first time he's visited New York's theatre district since the pandemic hit.
It's, on one hand, exciting. On the other hand, it's also pretty terrifying to see what we all love so much at a standstill, and perhaps most frightening is we don't know for how much longer.
Phantom is Broadway's longest-running musical, and Lai says it seems likely that it will return when theatres in New York are given the green light to reopen. In the meantime, he says the pandemic has provided an opportunity to pursue other interests.
A lot of artists, we all have projects that we want to do that sit on the back burner because we don't have enough time, or we don't have extended blocks of time to be able to create and to think. So I think what this has afforded a lot of us is to actually work on our craft, to work on projects not for a specific gig to perform, but more in terms of just self-learning, self-awareness, to grow as an artist.
Now, because of the shutdown, many of the people who have been making a living on Broadway are having to think outside the box.
When Broadway closed on March 12th, many thought theatres would reopen in a matter of weeks. But New York quickly became the epicenter of the US COVID-19 pandemic, and shows will not return this year.
The Broadway League has announced that productions are set to resume over a series of rolling dates in early 2021. And for the time being, many of the more than 96,000 people that work on Broadway are scrambling to find new ways to showcase their skills and pay the bills. After performing in the Cher show on Broadway, performer Ashley Blair Fitzgerald was set to begin work on the show American Dance Machine in April. When COVID-19 hit, that project got scrapped. As the industry ground to a halt, she helped create Get in Shape Girl. The mission was to bring Broadway-inspired workouts into people's homes, with classes taught by the performers themselves.
We're just so resilient with pivoting. That's what we do, because most of what we do is short stints, and we always have to find new ways to recreate, the wheel and figure out how to make it work again. And so this was like no other challenge, just had to be done at home as opposed to, somewhere else out in the world.
Get in Shape Girl is one of a number of initiatives set up since the pandemic hit, aimed at bringing Broadway into people's homes.
Typically, there are long lines at this ticket booth in Times Square. It will be some time before windows open to customers hoping to see a show on Broadway. But with many performers now offering experiences online, Broadway can come to them and to you.
With a sharp drop in global tourism and travel, the pandemic has also impacted Airbnb. In response, it launched an online experiences platform in April. It's collaborating with 10 Broadway stars as well as other entertainers the world over to provide them with a way to showcase and share their talents with the public.
So a lot of excitement, people are trying a new skill, they're able to fulfill some of that desire they have to go and attend a show, but at a time when they're not able to attend a show. But also another area we've seen a really significant increase in is corporate teams. So corporate teams who are not able to connect at this time, they're not able to be in the office together, are using a lot of these activities to really bond.
The Broadway Theatre District includes more than 40 theatres along the famous street in Midtown Manhattan. While some performers have managed to adapt, the overall impact of the shutdown is dramatic.
A number of shows, including Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and Frozen, won't return when Broadway finally reopens. It's a blow to an industry that generated around $15 billion to the New York economy last year.
Some shows are working to provide content for TV and streaming platforms. But the Alliance of Resident Theatres in New York says that transition isn't possible for everyone.
We've had a huge financial hit to our membership, as well as artistically a huge hit, which some can view as an opportunity, but it's really hard to think of theater, going from all on stage to going completely virtually. So there's a technical impact that our members are also experiencing.
The industry has been eligible for some state and federal financial support, but there are questions about whether that support has been sufficient.
Although artists are pushing hard to be included in a meaningful way, there's just way more money for other things, and a real lack of recognition of both what the arts contribute to the economies as well as the particular needs given the nature of the pandemic.
The industry itself is also working to support its members. Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS has raised millions of dollars for those in the entertainment industry impacted by COVID-19.
Whether that's through support at the Actors Fund, the emergency assistance support that they are offering folks in the industry who right now are sadly and very facing many difficulties by being out of work. Broadway Cares has sent the Actors Fund since March 17th over $6 million to help them with that emergency assistance.
Star of the Broadway show Ain't Too Proud, Jelani Remy, spearheaded a fundraiser called Next Gen Spotlight to help promote young talent.
Your donations will help Broadway Cares in such a great way because they're going to support people affected, obviously, by COVID-19.
He says the community has come together during the pandemic.
I think it's great that we are shut down in the way of there's more time to connect and there's more time to talk and have important conversations and also network.
While performers are now walking the boards at home rather than on stage, the hope is this disruption is just an intermission and that the show will eventually go on.